What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about OnyxCoin today, XCN USD. Here we are sitting at about $0.00522 right now with 7 hours left in the day. Massive sell-off yesterday, down 11, almost 12% actually. Not a lot of volume though. So it's no surprise that we are moving up, that there's some recovery today because, again, there was not a lot of volume in that drop yesterday. We could be forming some kind of a double bottom. We absolutely could go below these lows. I'm not under the impression entirely that we do go below these lows, but my feelings wouldn't be hurt if we did, right? It's totally fine if we do. I want to look at this low to high real quick and just see where we are. Went to the 786, 886 zone, and now we're back up to the golden ratio. Okay, so this is a bit problematic here, okay? What we need to do is not reject from this area. What we need to do is get above it, because if we reject from this area, then likely we will proceed to this area, which, you know, relatively speaking, it's not that far of a drop compared to how far we've come. But I think I speak for everybody in the OnyxCoin community. I speak for all of us. Whenever I say we're tired of this dropping shit, let's get to pumping, huh? Let's get to the popping champagne part, okay? We did have a lower low. We did have a higher low. Technically, what OnyxCoin has here on the daily time frame is a low, a lower low, and a lower low right here, right? You can see this low here on the daily close is lower than this daily close low here, which is what the RSI is based off of. With this, we have a higher low and a higher low. That is what's called double bullish divergence, but it's not confirmed until 6 hours and 58 minutes from now, whenever the day closes green. If the day closes green. If it closes red, we don't have bullish divergence, right? But you do, for the moment, have bullish divergence on your MACD, stochastics, and your RSI. Double bullish divergence on all of them. That's pretty good. That's not bad. Double bullish divergence on a daily time frame. This took a whole month to form, and it is formed. And if we close here today green like this or higher, likely we see something that plays out that takes us back, not anything crazy. This divergence started back here, but something that would take us back to these highs and likely above. Imagine this little range here. You've got this fake little pump, and then it comes back and you get a higher low. We're back up to these areas. Are we going to stop here? And if we do, maybe we form an ascending triangle and then eventually we break out, or more likely, we're probably going to push through. We push through this level, you guys, we're likely on our way up to ascent, or somewhere around there, right? Somewhere just below ascent, somewhere just above ascent, something like that. So this could be happening over the coming days. This could be happening, over the next week or two. Certainly before Christmas. We might see OnyxCoin back above 1 cent before Christmas. That'd be nice. Maybe in the next week or two. It could be by the end of this week that we're even up at 1 cent. Genuinely. We have 5 days, 7 hours left in this week. It could be by the end of this week that we're all the way back up here. We are sitting on a lot of divergence, not just on the daily time frame on the US dollar pair, but on the Bitcoin pair as well, right? We've got a lot of divergence here on the weekly time frame, both on the stochastics. We've got these higher lows built up, with these lower lows built up, and with the MACD. It's a very beautiful form of divergence here on the MACD. It's perfect. And we've got lower lows here. The move that we've assumed to be the minimum, right? Because we're only talking about the minimum because we'd rather be pleasantly surprised than disappointed, right? The minimum target from here would be all the way up at the 382, which is about a 114% move. If XCN versus Bitcoin moves up 114%, XCN versus the US dollar likely moves up more. So 114% would put us here at about 1.1 cent. We're probably going to see a move that takes us up 150% or more, something like that, something that takes us right around this area of resistance right there at 1.3 to 1.5 cents, right up here. So we're sitting on a stack of divergence that's about to send us likely to this area any day now. I would be very, very surprised, and this is the minimum. What if it goes to the 0.5 and then back down? What if we just rip all the way up to the golden ratio, right? The U.S. dollar price would be a lot higher. We could run all the way up to 2 cents or more. It's very possible. I mean, just take that into consideration, right? If we were to go to the golden ratio, for example, this is the excessive end, not the conservative end. But if we saw a 255% move, XCN versus the U.S. dollar, it would likely see a 300% move or more, would be my guess. So that would take us all the way up well above 2 cents. Like we're sitting on a lot of potential here. And whether it's 2 cents or more or 1 cent or more, there's a lot of potential there, and I've definitely added to my XCN bag since these weeks here. Since these weeks here, I've been adding to them. Right, I've bought, I think, twice since September, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was just the one time. I don't remember when my last I think my last purchase was up here. I'm fairly positive it was, but I thought I made two. Maybe I just made one purchase. Maybe I did just make one. I think I just made one. Anyways, 0052 right now. I definitely made some purchases here. I just don't remember. Was it one or two? Let me think. I think it was one. I think it was only one. I unstaked some coins. I claimed some rewards and then I restaked them. That's what it was. That's what the second thing was. Anyways, 00522 right now. And again, to be very clear, because somebody said this the other day, no, I have not sold any OnyxCoin. No, I don't plan on selling any. We're nowhere near selling prices, guys. We're very much near buying prices. And again, should we go lower? I don't think that we do, but should we go lower than this low, we're at very key areas to buy, right? Very, very key areas of support here. I think we're already there. I think we already have key areas of support. You know, if we take this from a low to a high, this relative low right here to a high, you're right at your golden ratio. You're finding support right at prior resistance right here, prior resistance there, and then of course our Bitcoin chart, we've got all this bullish momentum pent up. We got way off track. We went from the short term right to the long term, but in short, I very much do believe we have a nice move coming, and it could be generated any day. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be next week or the week after, but soon, very soon, we're going to see a nice, I would think, 150% pop or more. 150% pop US dollar or more, right? We're going to see that. 1 hour time frame here. The RSI looks bullish at the moment. So do the stochastics and so does the MACD. Nothing to complain about there. 4 hour time frame. Bit of a bearish look on the RSI and the stochastics and the MACD. A little different there. So that's okay. We just need to show some life here. We're not getting a whole lot of volume down to these levels. There wasn't a whole lot of volume pushing us down. We did get practically just as much volume here on this move up as we had on this move down, but without as much price movement. Looking at the 4 hour time frame, if I'm just being honest, it makes me a bit skeptical of thinking that we move higher. We do have 2 hours and 52 minutes left in this 4 hour candle. So with that, you know, that's more than enough time. We're only down 2%. That's more than enough time to come up and close this candle green. And if we do, I think that would look better. But if we're finding resistance here, we're finding resistance here. If we're finding resistance here, that likely would promote us to lower prices, and that potentially would take us below this low here. Okay. So again, just in that sense, it's very important with the setup that we have now that we don't reject this area. Because if you do break below your golden ratio like this, then you back test it for resistance, that typically would take us down to this area here of around 004 to 0036, 0041 to 0036, something in that area there. And again, the call is not that we're going to make our move down there, but should we reject this golden ratio zone, should we close this candle red and take out this low, there's very little room for error here. We're probably going to go right down to 0041 to 0036, okay, if we reject here. It's very important. I hope by the time most of you guys watch this, we are making strides higher. I hope that we are moving. I hope the 1 hour time frame isn't lying to us and the 4 hours giving us false reads right now, but we'll see. We'll know by the end of today. Tomorrow might be the day that we are pushing lower, or it might be the day that we are actually pushing higher. We'll see. I think what we're doing right now is actually very critical, because beyond just the fibs, you are finding resistance here at prior support, at prior resistance, at prior support. So a rejection here would potentially send us lower than this low, even at a basic level, just looking at the price action. So just be aware of that. Something to consider and something to hopefully motivate some buying pressure, right? If you've got any pennies that you've been pinching, put them into OnyxCoin now. We need it. We need to come to life right now. It's not like that dire, but at the same time, it kind of is. Daily time frame. And again, it's not that dire because what? We go a little bit lower. Okay, boohoo. Find support there, and then we move up. Instead of doing this right now, we just do it later. Okay, whatever. You know, it's not that big of a deal. You give us cheaper prices to buy. I will buy. If we go below this low, I will buy more OnyxCoin. I like the daily setup. I really do. But that's all predicated on the thought that we close green today, 6 hours, 50 minutes. With this 4 hour candle, if we reject here, it's completely possible that we could come back all the way and close this day red. So let's be apprehensive to that idea there. Looking at this on a weekly time frame, we've pulled back a dramatic amount from a high to what is the perceived low at the moment. The expectation here is that when OnyxCoin does come back to life, when we do start getting things in gear, probably sometime next year in January, February, or March, we should see targets somewhere around 9.4 cents to 21.3 cents. And that's anything from a 17x move to a 40x move, 40x move overall, something in that kind of area. I would more anticipate that we stop somewhere closer to this 13 to, let's say, 18 cent area personally, something like that. But time will tell. We'll see how it goes. I've got nothing else for you guys. I don't expect that this move here, that we're talking about, this potential outcome that we're talking about, I do not expect it to be just like what we saw back here. I do not expect it to be a 2-week period that takes us up here. It would be great if it is. I hope it is, but probably not. Probably it's going to take several weeks. We're going to find resistance at key areas, consolidate, and then we'll continue to push higher as time goes on, right? The way I have it drawn here, this would be in May. I don't think it's going to take until May to get up here, but whether it's May, whether it's March, whether it's January, whatever, we're going to get there. We're going to make our way up there soon enough. And I would expect that this initial reaction, what I was trying to say here at the end is that this initial reaction will be fast. It'll be nice. It'll probably be comparable to what we did back here. But the overall move will not be comparable to this. It might be bigger. It might be a bigger move overall, but it won't be comparable as far as timing goes. I would think we get an initial pop up to this 1 to 1.4 cent area, 1.2 to 1.4 cent area. If not there, then higher to the golden ratio, but somewhere in here, find resistance, pull back, and then continue to rally. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one, okay? Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.